Hi, I'm Susan Kennard and welcome to the Spiritual Awakener podcast. I'm really excited as this is just one of my favourite things to interview people. It's a podcast where I get to interview really cool people with cool stories. And you may have one of those stories yourself. You may have had an experience in your life where you've awakened and you suddenly realised, oh my goodness, I'm supposed to be doing so much more in my life than I thought I was. I knew I was meant to be something different. This is how I was. And if you want to hear my story, go over to episode 1 after this one, after you've listened to my next guest, and listen to my spiritual awakening story, where I got woken up in the night. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being on this series of the show. It's been running for over a year now, and I've had about 35, nearly 40 guests now, and it's just growing. So I'm really excited to have my next guest. Her name is Alla, and I cannot pronounce her surname, so I'm going to get her to pronounce her surname. Thank you, Alla, for being on my show. What's your surname?
My surname is Kozyreva. Kozyreva.
Yeah. Kozyreva.
Yeah.
Yes. Nearly. That wasn't bad, right?
Yeah, you got it.
So thank you for reaching out to me, because I always love it when people reach out to me and say, I really love to kind of talk to you about what I do, and I really love that. So thank you for being here. Tell us about you.
Pleasure.
And tell us what you do, and then also tell us a significant thing that happened that you feel was either a turning point in your life or a spiritual awakening.
Sure. It's so nice to be on your podcast, Susan. Thank you for having me. So a little bit about me. Right now, I'm in India, and I have been here for more than a year. It just happened that I got stuck here due to COVID travel restrictions. Originally, I'm from Ukraine, and I used to be a model many years ago. I used to be international model. I used to travel the world.
You're still very beautiful.
Thank you. I still got it.
You still got it, yeah.
Still got it. Yes. So that was a long time ago. Then I settled in Australia. I lived there for 11 years, and I used to work with children. I used to be an early childhood educator, and I also used to teach yoga and meditation to children during my work with them. And something happened where few things happened actually. So the first
things,
it was like a buildup of things that happened that was the pivotal point in my life. But the major pivotal point was to awaken me was separation from my ex-husband, and realizing, wait a second, what is this life? What am I doing here? Is this serving me? And who am I? And why am I in this hamster wheel running and getting nowhere? And I'm trying to tick all the boxes that society or whatever I thought society wanted me to tick, to be successful and happy. And I just found myself in the pit hole. So basically just in the lowest of the lows. I was completely broken, devastated, and just was in that state where you just feel you're just this flat thing and you don't know how to get yourself up and what to do. I felt like a complete loser. I felt like all the choices I made before that were just really silly and not me. And like, who was making these choices? It was just all running in my subconscious mind, this programming, right? So when we get conditioned.
People will be listening to this and they'll be like, oh my God, well, I'm in that situation now. And I was definitely in a similar situation, 12, 13 years ago. And so, we choose these things and there's nothing wrong with it, is there, Alla? It's like, that's who you were then. Yes. And if you're listening to this and you're in a situation like that with a relationship that you feel is not a vibrational match, let's say, then there is always a way out. And we live in this Western world. Well, we're definitely here in the UK, it's Western, and we have these choices that we can make now. And would you say, Alla, that if anyone's in a abusive relationship, I'm not saying you were, but an abusive, just to get out right away, We've
Yes.
been in lockdowns, and I know there's been a lot of notifications of abusive relationships happening more and more. So listen to this, really listen to this, and feel, if you are in a dead-end situation with a relationship, maybe, wait till the lockdown's over, definitely here in the UK. But once that happens, you can start thinking about, making moves to move forward and be free. But if you are in an abusive relationship, get out now. Okay, Alla, carry on.
I love what you said. I'm just getting goosebumps, and this is like confirmation from my guides that yes, this is beautiful, and what you say is absolutely true. And it was an abusive relationship, and I did get out. And
was it emotionally abusive or physically?
Physically and emotionally.
Wow.
And what you said also in terms of making those choices, of course, later it made perfect when I started to inquire about myself and who I am and how did I get to make those choices and why I've chosen it, and taking responsibility.
You accepted. So your self-worth, as mine was, 13 years ago.
Yes.
My self-worth was that, you accepted that mine was emotionally abusive, not physically, but it was still something that's hidden from a lot of society, right?
Yes, it is. And I actually had to Google physical abuse, emotional abuse to understand, because when you grow up in this kind of environment and you don't know anything else than that, and you think this is norm, and this is like, so we normalize sometimes, and as children, when we grow up, we get heavily influenced by our immediate environment. And
absolutely.
if that was not, if it was wishing to be better than that, and you didn't experience an example of a healthy relationship with your family or siblings or at school, then you would not know any better. So of course you can't blame yourself for being a vibrational match for that.
It's not about the blame, is it? I mean, a lot of people say, well, I feel guilty, I can't leave them. And I know, in cycles of abuse, because obviously I worked in trauma child protection for many years in local authority. And in the cycles of abuse, when you're in that cycle, you do not feel like you're in it.
Yes.
So if you listen to this, and and I was a psychologist and a psychotherapist and worked in child protection, and it wasn't until it was the right time for me to see that it was a cycle of abuse that I was able to wake up. I had 2 babies to look after, so it was slightly different, right? But for you, that's a really important point, isn't it? Because I don't know what your background was growing up, but I wasn't brought up in an abusive relationship, but I was brought up where there was subservience with my mother and sort of quite a controlling way of being with my father, but not abusive, but quite controlling in that way. So I think I probably picked up on that. And what about you?
Yes, there was definitely control, and there was physical abuse at times, and there was emotional abuse at times. And so I think a combination of those things, but actually, Susan, like, it does go to the past lives as well, to be a vibrational match to this family. So if we choose this family on a soul level, that is to heal our past life traumas. So later, when I learned more about myself and learn more about how, like, yoga, Ayurveda, everything, whatever I was learning along the way, and all the spiritual teachers that came onto my path to learn from, and astrology as well, everything, numerology, everything.
One of my favorite things.
all of start to make sense.
Look at Chiron, you can go, oh, right, okay, it makes sense. And we should have known that 20 years ago, right?
Exactly. And that's what soul came to experience. And also South Node and North Node, that really blew my mind when I understood, wow, so that was my South Node playing out. And now it's time to make the change into the North Node. And it's time to move into that stability and in, like, away from drama. Yes, and healing
because
as
it's
well.
like, you know, the North Node is like standing fully in what you came to bring in, right?
Exactly,
and
that's the
what
purpose.
you brought in.
Yes, that's the sole purpose. That's what I'm meant to learn and say thank you very much, experience. You know, you this is great, but
that's
now it's time. Enough now. Yes, I had enough of this lesson.
Did you feel, because obviously your husband that was, I mean, I definitely felt there was a big karmic relationship with the father of my children, right? And it was a whirlwind. Was yours a whirlwind? Did you meet, and was it a karmic, real like?
Yes, it was. It was like that, and it was like completely just running that program, like completely. And I was just not in control.
Like a neediness, like a
it was
a
like
morphing,
It was all of that, and I needed to learn to step out in empowerment and to learn my self-worth and to understand that my self-worth is eternal. It doesn't come from seeking it from somebody else, and I don't need that validation, and I don't need to depend on another person to tell me how worthy I am. That's my birthright. And I had to learn over and over again the same lesson. And the boundaries as well, that's a big one. And the boundaries comes to, again, to understand who I am, like what's okay for me, what's not okay for me, where that line is. And
do you feel today, I mean, I feel if we look at today, obviously we're interviewing here on the 4th of March 21, so if you're listening to this later on, then this is a time where the world definitely is going through a big awakening and a big transformation. That's how I like to see it anyway. And choices, you know, we're seeing that there is a divide with some, even families, you know, people making one decision, people making another decision, some people believing the narrative, some people not believing the narrative of what's happening in the world. And no judgment with any of that, but isn't it interesting how people are starting to make their own choices from a place of inner wisdom, would we call it, like intuition, inner wisdom? Obviously we have our guides and so on, but that even people that are not aware of their guides and may be listening to this and saying, well, I don't even know what that is. Actually, you have this gut feeling, don't you, Alla? You know, this true intuition, the gut feeling that your body is trying to tell you something, you know, that maybe doesn't feel quite right or maybe feels completely right. And so I'm very much an advocate of helping people make their own choices about their life. And it comes from empowerment. And what you're talking about is, what I'm hearing from you is that it's about you waking up one day, spiritually awakening one day and saying, this just doesn't fit with the narrative of love, right? Unconditional love. And that is where I came from. And then I came here and I forgot who I was. Exactly. And then I remembered who I was. And then you just fit. And I'm like, oh, okay. And that's really what I feel an awakening is. You know, it's like that moment of saying, oh, I am a soul in a human, or a soul having a human experience, and I'm a sovereign being, you know, of choice and freedom. And that's what I'm hearing from you. So how old, if you don't mind me saying, how old were you when you made that decision? When you were in that relationship and you made a decision to not be in that relationship? How old were you?
Actually, I was about 33, I'd say, around that age. And
so was it your Saturn return though? Because 27 was about my Saturn return. Did you at that age start to get inklings of, you know, you were sort of just a few years before that, were you thinking this doesn't feel?
Yes, for a long time I thought that. And I also wanted to add something what you were saying about being the soul coming into the human experience. As children, we remember who we are.
Oh, yeah.
And I remembered who I was as a child. And then when I got conditioned and tried to fit into this physical world and trying to desperately fit in, and because I wanted to be loved, I wanted to belong. And so I gave up a lot of those inner knowings in exchange for being trying to be accepted. Yes, right? Exactly. And so that's why when you say that inner feeling is always there, it's always been there, despite me making all those choices, trying to fit into this physical world. But the feeling is always there. It never left me. And I think for many people, it's all because it's always that spark of the divine is in our heart space, right? It's always there. You can't ever undo this. So it's that when awakening happens, it's not like suddenly you're like, boom, oh, I'm
like
aware.
one day, is it? It's like
it's not
a selection of situations
it's a
where you go,
process.
oh, now that makes sense. Yeah. And then there's the stepping out of the closet. I call it the spiritual
closet. Spiritual closet. Yes.
Actually, I can speak about it and I'm not worried about speaking about it, right? Because
and it's safe to say this. It's safe to talk about guides and angels and divine and all of that. And it feels so wonderful to find the like-minded
I don't care what people think. Do you care what people think? I really don't care.
Not anymore. No. Before I stepped out of it, I think now I have enough people in my life who are on the same lens waves with me. And so we can talk about angels, guides, astrology, and all of those things, and they just it's just flows, and I never have to worry about it because I'm surrounded by people who are
match. Yeah,
exactly.
So if you're listening to this and you feel, I don't have those people around me, I'm fighting against my family, I'm fighting against my friends. I spoke to someone I know this morning, and she said exactly the same. She said, I'm here with my own beliefs, but I'm also here with everyone else's beliefs. So the battle of the divide was very clear for her. So I had a chat with her about it. But the thing is, if you're listening to this and you feel that way, buy yourself some time. Yeah. By just speaking your language of, I'm just waiting. I'm just making my own choice. I'm just listening to my own heart. That kind of language, because you cannot change someone else. And there's going to be so many people that are not ready to awaken.
That is very true. That is very true. And it's also not our mission to try and awaken everybody. It's everybody has their own responsibility for their own, they have their free will, right? So we come here with the free will. You can't impose on someone's free will. And when people are ready, it will happen. And so that's why it's important to perhaps even energetically draw towards yourself people who are going to be supportive on your path, and over time it happens. You can transition into living a life with the support of those kind of souls who are like your soul tribe, who are going to support you.
If you're in a relationship, if you're married to someone who feels one way and then the other person doesn't, and it's tricky if your family around you feels one way and you're awakening to something. And that's where you need to find, like you said, your soul family or your tribe or whatever it is, so that you have that outside of your physical family, your blood family. You can have that consciousness. I'm very blessed with my soul family. I'm very, very blessed with it. But what I was going to say was that the guides are asking me to ask you this, so I have to keep listening to them. They're saying to ask you, how did you get out of that relationship?
Okay, that's very interesting.
And I think so, people, which is why they're saying it, right?
Okay. So basically, leading towards the end of it, I became extremely anxious, and I would even say like I was having these panic attacks, because maybe on some level I knew it has to end, and I was really, really scared to be on my own and how it's all going to happen. So actually, to cut the cord, or you would say, I booked a psychic reading with someone really wonderful. I've done several readings with her, Kim Sota. And
on my podcast.
Yes,
and I've had her husband, Ben Sota, on my podcast. So yeah, it's like keep it in the family, right?
yes, that's how I got to know about you as well, through her. Yeah. And so that was my first ever psychic reading. I've never done it in my before in that way, and I probably just needed that confirmation. I needed just that outside
influence,
energy, just to confirm, so that it's like give me permission to do it. Like I probably just needed a permission to do it, because no, I don't think a lot of people at that time understood my choice, because people can't really see from the outside what's going on the inside. So from their perspective, they would not understand why I had to do it. But she knew, because she had the information that's beyond the physical. And the guides have information that nobody else can see, and on the subtle level you can see. Yes. So when I got that confirmation, and and a lot of other things that started to make sense to me, it was not difficult afterwards, because I had this clarity that it's an absolutely right decision, and that I had this confidence that everything will be fine in the end, because I was told, the guides told, and
also I have faith. Soul's drive, isn't it? Like your soul's, I was the same. I remember thinking, how am I going to do this? How am I going to look after my kids? How am I going to pay for it? And I had my mother, which was really, really a real blessing. But I had no idea either. And no one agreed with me. So, same. Like they were like, oh, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. But I knew, just as you knew, it was the right thing to do.
Yes.
To get out of that situation. Yeah.
Despite what everybody else was saying. And look, I had a lot of people going like, what? Are you sure you're not going to work it out? Are you sure? I'm like, I'm so sure that no matter what you say to me right now, or no matter what anybody says, there's absolutely no single doubt in me that this is not going to happen. Like I know on a level that nobody knows. And that gave me that clarity and confidence.
I think that's really key, Alla, is that for people to listen, people listening now, if you're listening to this and you've had this feeling within you that's such a drive, whether you should do something or you shouldn't do something, really listen to that feeling, because it's not from fear, it's from a knowing. And if that keeps coming up into your experience and that keeps being reminded to you, then you know that there's something that you need to do. Whatever choice it might be about your relationship, it could be about work, it could be about what's going on in the world today. You make the choice from your place of inner knowing. So Alla, so somebody was working with you, how do you work with them? What do you offer?
I offer Ayurveda yoga therapy. So this is a combination of two sister sciences. They come from the Vedas. Yoga and Ayurveda in combination, they go hand in hand. So people who have health issues. I had health issues. That's how I got into learning about it and applying it for myself, for my own benefit, and that healed me. I had many issues with my digestion, with hormonal imbalance, headaches, migraines, anxiety, body pain, stiffness, you name it, right? Like it was a whole package.
Your body was talking to you.
Body was talking.
And luckily you listened. Yeah.
Yes, and I didn't know at that time about having this vata imbalance that I had, that also it was just leading incorrect lifestyle, right? So according to Ayurveda, when you can correct that with correcting your lifestyle with the tools of yoga and Ayurveda. So it includes the nutrition, your diet is extremely important, and also the yoga practices and the lifestyle, your daily routine, which is called dinacharya. So I designed the programs.
Thing together.
Package. Yes, I put it all
together for people.
Yes, there is a program.
Website, Alla, just say your website so people can look up your website. Just clearly say it.
Yes, so it's www.allayogatherapy.com. Alla as ALLA.
Yeah, we can see that on the screen, which is really good.
Okay, good.
ALLA
yogatherapy.com.
Right, excellent.
Yes.
And that'll be in the credits at the end as well. So so people can come to you, so they can contact you there, but they can also contact you on your email address, which will also be in the credits as well. And they can contact you for, is it a consultation? Is it a pre-consultation? What do you do?
Yes, they can contact for free consultation. I can do 15-20 minutes free consultation to find out how I can help them. So they can tell me what the issue is, and I can work out how I can best help them out. And so we can consult first, and then I can talk more and offer people whether it's the program. I also have yoga classes, meditations, pre-recorded meditations and programs. It's all listed. They would be able to go to it through my website onto the platform that is called Fit My Time. So it's all connected to my website. So once they find the link, yes, they can see all the other offerings. So I can tailor for them. Yeah.
And so obviously we all have our online practice. Like we work all over the world. So there isn't a distance for Alla. Like it doesn't matter. She's in India. I'm in the UK on the South Coast, and we're talking, and the internet's pretty good actually.
Yes.
Sometimes we have a wave of weird internet when we do these interviews. And it's definitely been happening recently, but it seems like the universe has lined up for us today.
Yes.
You can be anywhere in the world. So if you're listening to this and you're anywhere in the world, don't feel that you can't contact Alla, and she will be able to help you like this. And she has all her programs on her website. So that's really great. So Alla, we have about another 5 minutes. So what are the things that I love what you were speaking about. I love what you're speaking about, your journey, your beautiful awakenings that have happened. And there's not just one, of course, there are many awakenings. Is there something that you could help people with in the now moment? So if they were feeling stuck in a situation, they're not sure, where to turn, what have you got sort of a couple of tips you could give them?
Yes. So if they're feeling stuck and there is lack of clarity, the best thing is to connect with yourself. So that's why meditation is so good, because you need to be able to listen to your soul's calling. You need to hear yourself. So perhaps just taking some time away from everything and going to nature, because nature for me was very healing as well. After separation, I used to go hiking a lot. And that was very, very healing for my soul to actually hear my thoughts, because I was so relaxed and to hear what was going on the inside. And it's very healing and calming in itself. So even finding a lake or river or any kind of water source and just sitting by the water source or park. Yes, yeah.
I'm really blessed, yeah.
Yeah, if you have water source, that's really, really, this is what I do here right now. I'm in Rishikesh and I have Ganga here, and Ganga River is very healing. So whenever I felt there was some anxiety or there is some things that especially during Mercury retrograde, it was like, whoa, what's going on? I was really not feeling that great. So I used to just go every day, or like not every day, but often, to Ganga and just sit on the rock and close my eyes and just breathe and just simple, take 4 slow breaths in through the nose, and then take slow 4 counts through your nose. You understand? Yeah. So inhale on the count of 4, and then slowly exhale on the count of 4, and just stay there with that breath. So when we connect with the breath, it's very powerful and it's very simple. No, you don't have to buy. You don't have to pay for it. It's there. It's for free, right?
Don't we? I do this.
Yes.
And we forget to breathe. So we're breathing up here.
Yes.
Sympathetic nervous system. And what we want to be is in the parasympathetic, or we're just literally
exactly.
calm.
Exactly. And it's really calming. So just focusing on that, inhale on 4, slowly exhale on 4 through the nose with the eyes closed if possible. And then just doing it for 5-10 minutes. it will really help to just bring that, like you said, that state of calm and tranquility and relax, and nature itself will be already taking away a lot of the whatever it needs to be let go of. It will just clear it to the earth, so the earth will heal that. And it's very powerful and I used to do that. This is what I did a lot for my healing, and it's simple.
And the intention of it as well. We set before we went live, we set a beautiful intention, each of us. And if you are feeling this way, just set your intention and then sit with the breathing. And there are lots of meditations that you can get online. You know, I've got them, Alla's got them, many people have got them. And so just ask your team, your guidance, to show you the best place to be at this point in time. And you will get answered. You know, you might not get someone tapping on your shoulder saying, hey, go to that website, right? But you will get answered. It just doesn't come in the way you think it's going to come, right? But you get answers. You've put a clarion call out. You've maybe heard this podcast and you've gone, actually, I can have the strength to make my own choices from a place of empowerment. And yes, maybe I'm repatterning. Maybe I'm following the old narrative of ancestors or my family or epigenetics or whatever it might be. And of course there's past lives. Some people don't believe in that. So, you know, we can, even if we don't believe in that, we can still look at our mother's mother's mother, our father's mother's father, and growing in the womb. And, you know, everyone did that, right? Well, grew in the womb. People had a mother and a father at some point, even if they're not with them. And so, you know, we've all had that. So even if we don't believe in or we can't feel that it's not tangible enough for us. The tangibility is that we are human. We're having this human expression, right? And we were born at one point. So we were born from others. So those others may have brought in a different experience that we're having now, because we need to step into our power. And what Alla does is help you to align, this is what I'm hearing, align more fully to who you truly are on a soul level, but also on a human level too.
Beautiful. I love what you said.
I need to end our beautiful conversation now. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
You know,
thank you so much. I love
Doesn't it fly by, right?
I know, it feels like a second. Yes.
I know. So I just want to say, if you're listening to this, please, you know, reach out to us, reach out to me if you'd like to come on the Spiritual Awakener. If you have an awakening story, or you would like to tell me about a turning point that led you to work with the collective, I'd love to hear it. Find me at susankennard.co.uk. And don't forget, go to episode 1 and have a listen to my awakening story, where I got woken up in the middle of the night. Thank you so much for joining me on the Spiritual Awakener. I look forward to the next guest that I have on. Please join us. Much love for now. Much love, Alla.